Okay, this is my information speech. I have my wife here for my audience. I really couldn't get nobody else gathered around to do it. Okay, this is my informational speech. My purpose is to educate my audience about the invasion of the Asian carp and what effects it has on our waterways. Asian carp first came into the United States in the early 1960s. They stayed mainly in the southern parts of the United States until the mid-1980s. That's when they started branching out into other parts of the country. I want to inform you about these nuisances and make you aware on how they affect other fish species. We will look at when they got here, how they got here, what effects they have on other fish, and how they affect other boaters on the water. I love to fish and spend time on the water. When fishing, I've always had to look out for the fish until one day I had the fish come look for me. We know that Asian carp was introduced to the southern part of the U.S. in the 1960s. It has been 60 years since this species of fish was introduced. Let's look and see how many states have Asian carp and what bodies of water they thrive in our state. Asian carp originated from Asia. They made it to the U.S. in the 1960s and started leaking out to other waterways in the 1980s. Today, the Asian carp have spread into the main rivers such as Mississippi, Ohio, Missouri, and Illinois River. According to the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, they can be found in over 40 states as of today. In Kentucky, you can find them in the Ohio River and its tributaries, such as the Kentucky Lake and Barkley Lake, and the Salt River. By now you should understand when and where these fish came from. Now let's talk about the negative impact they have on our waterways. Asian carp can eat up to 5 to 40% of their body weight in a day. These carp live and thrive on plankton, which other endangered mussels and fish also need. In our state, Kentucky and Barkley Lake are full of these fish, and it has negatively impacted the grass beds and other fish populations in these lakes. They are eating up as much plankton it is affected the aquatic food chain. Minnows eat the plankton, shad eat the minnows, and other fish such as bass, crappie, and catfish eat the shad. When a fish can grow and eat as much as they do, they have to outcompete their predators very quickly. Is there any way to turn this train around, you may ask? What is our conservation biologist doing to slow the growth of these nuisances? What is the most effective way of getting rid of these fish? Well, back in the day, one of the ways people would catch these fish was by snagging them or by bow fishing. Although these two methods are fun, they are just not that effective against these fast-growing fish. You may have seen on TV or have heard about fish jumping out of the water into people's boats. That's what Asian carp do. The sound waves from the boat motors draw these fish to the top of the water and they lunge out. Many people have been hurt by this. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife put on fishing tournaments every year just for Asian carp. It's called the Carp Madness. It's held down in Kentucky and Barkley Lake. Hundreds of people gather to fish for them. Whoever has the most weight at the end of the 2 days wins. If you would be interested in that or would like to watch a video on this, you can visit the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife page. If you are a fisherman or you enjoy your summers on the lake, Asian carp affects us all. I encourage you to do your part in helping limit these invasive fish in our waterways. Today we learned about the invasion of the Asian carp. We looked at when these fish were brought into the U.S. and when they really started branching out. We also learned where they are now and ways we can help them from spreading. I will leave you with this. Female Asian carp can produce up to 1 million eggs annually. This and the fact that they feed at the bottom of the food chain is horrendous. If we don't do something major now, other species will be in danger. Thank you.